Hello everyone, this is Lock&I, and welcome back to another video on the Grey Builds YouTube channel, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of our double feature for today. Now, if you didn't notice, earlier today I posted another video discussing the botanical gardens, and in this video we will be taking a look at the farm. I did this mainly so that viewers can just pick which ones they want to watch when, and you don't have to watch them in a specific order, but I think that this definitely does make it easier to stomach the topics in each of these videos. Plus, I feel like each of these topics deserve their own video in their own right, but didn't want to have to wait for a whole week to do another video, so that way I can continue working on stuff in the LEGO City. So let's get right into the farm's review today. Now, I will mention that this farm is not complete. There are things that I'm going to be doing in the future to update some of this stuff and add more buildings and add more details, so we're going to just go through what I have right now, starting with this sheep pen here. All the animal pens on this side of the farm are made with these ladder pieces on their sides, which is cool because it makes room for you to be able to open and close these little gate doors. And in this case, the sheep just have a nice plain green pen full of grass and a little bit of a shady area created by this kind of like shed-like thing that's just sitting in the back corner. And I wanted to give this just so that they have a little bit of something to go and keep them safe from the sun, basically. But they have a small pen compared to the next animal, the chickens. And of course, if you've been around this channel at all, or seen literally the beginning of the video with the chicken in my car that I ride around in, well, you'll know that I love chickens. And this coop is one of the chicken coops I designed for a fair project for the Yorktown Grange Fairs, where every year I try to do something for the fair to put up a little LEGO display just to showcase the creativity that you can do with LEGO. And usually it ends up being farm-themed in some sort of way. So you'll have to stay tuned to see what this year's one will be. But this is the chicken coop from one that I did a couple years ago. And now it's perfectly transitioned into this pen. I also put all the chickens down along with their waterer and feeder. And we have a bunch of chickens doing all sorts of things. We got chickens inside the coop, chickens underneath the coop, chickens at the water, chickens getting some food. And right here we have the opening gate again. But this has a whole bunch of chickens outside of it, because the chickens know that if you're coming, you've either got food or you're there to hang out with them, and they're all going to come rushing over to see you, or try to escape, one or the other. It's always something with these guys. So I have a bunch of them crowding around the door, and of course, this isn't all of my chickens. Some of them are currently being used on another project, so I guess there could be more chickens in here in the future. Additionally, we have this little, like, dark tan sort of tiling set up here, and it's made to represent like dirt being turned into the farm. I didn't want to do dirt paths all the way throughout the farm, but the areas that are usually used with the most amount of treads on them have these on there. And of course, as you would expect, you can open up the gate to reveal that there's some animal faces from the LEGO Friends set that I used in my previous farm. These used to be the doors to the pens, but I think they look good to advertise some of the animals at the farm. So we have a chicken on here, and the other one we have a goat, which is actually a kind of a sneak peek to something that you'll be seeing shortly. So this basically just allows any car or any of the tractors to be able to move in and out of the farm, which is pretty cool. And that connects to this really epic looking fence which I built, utilizing a bunch of different plates, tiles, and 1x1 bricks in reddish brown. And I basically just built this in segments, and some of them aren't even straight. Some of them are at an angle, which is pretty cool. And that goes all the way around to this end over here, right next to the ocean. Now, behind the cottage, I placed in, once again, the really interesting, like, grain silo sort of thing I had in mind here. But this might change, this might stay here. I don't know yet. It definitely looks cool. So that's mainly something that I wanted to keep in the farm display. And there's a place for tractors to pull up with their trailers to get more feed filled up for the animals. Now, speaking of the animals, we have some animals out front here, and this is just a couple of animals from my previous farm, which is 2 Sebastole geese, which is a very fluffy variety of geese. And of course, we have a little duck, and we also have a baby dragon. Now, one of those things may not seem like the others, but in my world of this LEGO City, it's built in the world of Ninjago, and I would like to think, since people can use dragons for everyday tasks, having baby dragons being raised at the farm makes perfect sense. So that's what we have the baby dragon there for. Additionally, we have the Creator 3-in-1 small cottage set, which is one of my first LEGO Creator sets and one of my favorites that I have put together here. And this is actually important to our surprise of this video that I have for everybody, which is the color scheme. So keep in mind the color scheme as we move on to the surprise. Would you look at that? I have built a massive sized barn that you can open up the doors, you can take the roof off, all that jazz. And this barn is humongous to basically facilitate all the animals on the inside that we'll take a look at. And, of course, you can fit a tractor in there too. Now, before we go and take a look at that, the inside of that, I have this little pig pen out here, which I'm pretty happy with. It's just a little bit of mud and one of those little, like, dome huts you see the pigs live in, using a bunch of these, like, rounded pieces. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. It is pretty awesome. And you got 2 parents and a baby piglet in there, so that's pretty cool as well. Additionally, I want to mention that we still have the turkey just hanging out, and turkey, the geese, and the ducks, and the dragons get to wander around the farm as they please, as well as this tractor here from the LEGO Friends farm set. This is probably something that I'm going to modify in the future, but I like how this looks right now. Now, moving to the barn, I did want to showcase before we go on the inside and like remove the roof and everything that you can move these doors open, and very slowly on this door because it's a little bit stiff, but then you can drive the other tractor out. And this is my 4+ tractor that came in this that I got these sheep from. So definitely pretty cool, and as you can see, I added some more like dirt trail for when the tractors are coming out of the barn and inside of the barn a lot. So now, let me take that roof off the barn, and I will show you the inside. So here's the inside of the barn, and since I can remove the roof, it's easier to do things like stop animation in here, and I left the backside open because, well, of course, you're not going to see that in most angles of the LEGO City, and of course, again, it makes it easier to get a camera in there to showcase what we've got going on. Additionally, I did separate the sections of this a little bit, so let's take a look at this side first. So, in a brick haul that I'm getting from Lego.com, that should be arriving before next week's video, I have some Lego cows that I've ordered, special Lego cow molds, and a Lego goat for the first time in my collection. And I think it's such a big event, so I built a little area for the cows inside, and that connects to this pin on the outside here. There is, indeed, a little door that can swing open to allow your cows to go outside. And you can see I've already added some little dots of cow poop and added the windmill to the end of the property there. Now, there's also this little gate in the inside of the cow's pen from inside the barn, which goes to this gray platform, which is made of light gray pieces. And the light gray platform here is meant to be an area for milking cows. Now, since I only have 2 cows, I didn't think of building an automatic milking machine, but I already have a milk tanker and have plenty of places in my city where people would want to get milk. So, this little area for milking cows, maybe by hand with a bucket, would be perfect for this barn. Now, that's only about half of what we have on the barn, so if we quickly shimmy on past the barn and side of the display, we have all these horses over here, and I really enjoy having horses in displays like this, and in my previous display, they didn't really have a place to go, and that doesn't do them justice. So here, we have a total of 6 horses in my display, and this is also a bit of LEGO history here, because we have 2 horses here on the end, which are horses that have coats, and one has like a headpiece, that kind of makes it look like a dragon, which is cool. But these horses are from like the old castle sets, before LEGO horses could bend their back legs to be able to make them look like they're jumping. So there's that, and then we have this cool little area in the back here just to store saddles and stuff. It's just a small little table. And then next to that we have the skeleton horse, which I would assume since it's a skeleton, he's probably feeling a little cold, so we gave him a little coat as well, and it definitely fills in that little weird gap in the back. The other 3 horses are 3 colors of the newer horses from LEGO that you can bend the back legs, and I just covered up the backs so that way you can see them just chilling out in the barn. The gates do open, however, it's really not giving them much space inside, so I figured that the farm would likely let some of the horses out and like free roaming the area during the days and only come back at night for it to be safe. But definitely pretty happy with that design for the barn, and of course, I did do that in the color design, utilizing the colors that were used in the Creator Cottage, which I mostly did that because I wanted a barn that looked pretty epic and one that looked like it was from like a children's storybook, the classic like red and white barn, as you will. But I didn't want to do just any barn. I wanted to make it match something else, so I decided to make it match the build for the Creator 3-in-1 Cottage set. And I think it turned out pretty well. Now, that's about all I have for this, but let's put the roof back on, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts and talk about the future plans for this. Overall, I'm fairly happy with this new farm design. I realize it takes up a lot more space, and there's a lot of empty space in this farm, but that will come with projects we'll have done in due time. And in the next video I do, I'll probably be showcasing some of the new animals that I get, as well as unpacking my first of the Pick-a-Brick hauls, because I definitely have some really cool pieces that I found that I want to showcase. So, that's just about all I've got for this video. Did you like this? Did you enjoy the idea of doing a larger scale farm? Feel free to take inspiration from any of the things I've done in this video, because I'm actually pretty proud of how some of this came out. And this is just one of the things I really enjoy about LEGO. And, of course, it's combining my two favorite things, LEGO and chickens, together in one place. And, of course, I have some other ideas for like some modified tractors, some more buildings, some garden beds, stuff like that for this farm, so stay tuned for all of that. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one. And I hope you all have a great day.